Oh, Lord. Oh. I'm wearing the shirt Mom copped for me today.
Nice.
That's the Nate Hate Show tradition, is wear shirts that Mom got us, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Perfect crotch placement.
I want to have mine to where my hair is not like... Okay, that's kind of normal. Now people are going to know I'm a faggot and I look at what my hair looks like on the podcast. I just want to say right now I'm pledging my allegiance to Argentina. Long live the GOAT, Lionel Messi. Scored 2 penalties today. And they fucking...
Really?
Yes, dude. They were up 1-0. Can you pull the Roadcaster back a little bit? Like, pull it this way? But Argentina was up 1-0 at like the 30th minute because Messi got a perfect assist where he did like a no-look pass. Then fucking 75th minute, I think, Acuna goes all the way up, gets fouled in like right in the box by Denzel Dumfries, and I was just screaming, Messi! Dude, knowing he was about to bang that bitch. The goalie froze, dude. Messi banged that bitch so hard in the corner.
Really?
Yeah. And then, like, 78th minute, I think, maybe, they subbed off Memphis Depay for this guy named Verghorst. And that's going to be wrong. I know it is. But they subbed that guy on, and I was like, well, I guess they're giving up because Memphis Depay is their best player in my mind.
Yeah.
And fucking, not Van Dijk is, actually. But
attacking-wise.
Best attacker on their team. And then this dude... 3 minutes after he gets subbed in the 83rd minute, fucking bangs a header in, like, far post from, like, a big cross.
Really?
And, like, then I realized that guy was 6'6", and that...
Really?
Yeah.
Just Dutch Peter Crouch.
Yes, dude.
That's
and
fire.
that dude was fucking huge, and he, like... They had 2 huge strikers in, because Lucas de Jong was also in, and that guy's, like, 6'5".
Really?
Yeah, so they were just hitting crosses, like...
meatheads up there.
Yes, dude. For, like, the last, like, 10 minutes of that, Van Dijk was, like... even going up and attacking.
Dude, yeah, usually at the end of games, Van Dijk comes up. I got to witness that firsthand.
Wasn't that like your first Germany game that you ever watched?
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't the first one I ever watched, but the first one I went to in person. Yeah, fucking. Like the last, like, I think there was probably like 8 minutes of stoppage time in that game, and I was like, Van Dijk's gonna come up, and no one was like marking him whatsoever. And like he was literally just creeping at the top of the box, and then like they crossed it in, had like a shitty attempt, and I think like the keeper like punched it out, and Van Dijk's just sitting there without anyone within like 10 yards of him at the top of the box, volleys that shit into the top corner, and they fucking I think that drew it.
God damn, dude. They fucking...
That's tough.
People don't understand, like, people, like, soccer players at the highest level are so much better than, like, everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, imagine any other center back, like, not just at the highest level, but at the highest level of the highest level. Like, fucking, even Sergio Ramos in his prime might not have been able to do that. Maybe.
Yeah. Remember the Vincent Kompany banger?
Yes. Dude, they were screaming, no, Vinny, don't do it. And he fucking nailed that whore.
That shit was so good.
Dude, imagine niggas saying, no, don't shoot. And you just splash that bitch from the logo, and then you turn around holding the 3 up.
That had to be like his first actual like outside of the box shot attempt in like years, though. So.
I'm sure. No, like he should never have taken that. Like,
yeah,
still
but
to
if
this
I
day.
saw him taking it as his teammate, I'd be like, fuck it.
No,
He's
but that was
feeling
like
himself.
that was like the end of the season, and like they needed promotion, and it was like the last couple of minutes of the game against QPR.
So it was hella ignorant.
Well, I mean, like it was like you should give someone else a chance. But fucking
Draymond taking that Game 7 game winner.
Dude, yeah, it would be like, what?
Zaza pulling it from half court.
Zaza Pachulia. Dude, in my mind, he's still the most valuable Warrior to ever play. Dude. That nigga saved their ass against the Spurs.
I never made the connection that his name is Zaza.
That nigga smoking the Zaza.
Yeah, that's so fucking good.
Dude, do you remember, like, well, you weren't even there for that shit. Fucking back in Camden, I remember there was, like, a time where, like, everyone had mid, and they would just be like, yeah, bro.
Zaza,
they'd
bro.
be like, but since my other shit is mid, I do have that Zaza for, like, way overpriced.
And then it would be the same shit.
No, like some people, like Quan is one of the people that I would go to. And he always, I just realized I fucking called his name out, but I guess I didn't say a last name. But everyone knows who Quan is. But that nigga would always have good weed. And like consistently. But then there was
he'd have the 2 packs, 2 different prices.
Yeah. Fucking.
Okay, I mean, BP did that. I mean, it's fair if you have like mid and you have gas, because it's like, yeah, I mean, some people are definitely down to just buy mid.
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't have that much money, so I was like.
If they're like, bro, like, honestly, I got some gas though, and just sold someone the exact same weed for 2 times as much.
That happened in Thomasville to us, dude. Really? I remember there's this dude, Fresh, that we used to buy from, and like, it was so sketchy. Like, I had to get that guy from like some soccer player, and this dude is like some fucking 35 to like 50-year-old black dude with like long ass dreads. And like that dude, I mean, he was like cool, but like he would just towards the end of the time that we were buying weed, I remember he would just like give us the most terrible shit, bro.
You're like, bro,
like, this is not cool.
Yeah, dude, fucking David. Oh wait, we shouldn't just be name dropping drug dealers, to be honest.
No, I don't give a fuck. We're not saying last names.
Their names are so hilarious.
David got that gas. Yeah. I'm not gonna say it, but you know who David got that gas. You know the next word in that. Fucking. Oh my god,
dude! I do kind of feel bad because one time I bought weed from him and I like hella pressed him, thinking that he shorted the fuck out of me, and it was just because he like actually sealed that shit like hella tight in one of the like the half gar bag method. And, like, I opened that shit up and it, like, uncompressed. And I was like, okay, maybe I was slightly tripping. But man did try and, like, use his, like, lie on his grandma's health as an excuse.
What?
Yeah, I was like, hey, bro, like, sack feels a little light. And he's like, oh, my fault. I need to get a new scale. Mine's been bugging, but I haven't been able to go to the store. And, like, I was like, can I, like, get some more? Because I was like literally right outside his shit still. He was like, no, bro, I gotta take my grandma to the hospital right now. And I was like, it's cool, bro, like, you don't have to lie about your grandma, to be honest. Like, it's just some weed.
Dude, then you said you opened it up and you saw that you were tripping.
Yeah. Oh. Like, I definitely was still shorted like probably 0.5, but I thought I got shorted like 2 G's.
Oh my god, yeah, no, you gotta say something about that. Yeah. Dude,
that shit looked horrendous.
I forgot who it was, but someone was telling me in Kennesaw that they like pressed a plug and were like, this is too short.
I've never bought illegal drugs, by the way.
Dude, I have. Way too often. But fucking, someone like pressed their dealer and were like, this is not enough. And then they like weighed it and it was more and they took the amount out. And they're like, okay. Like, it was an eighth and it was like 3.8. And they're like, yeah, this is not.
They're like, bet.
Yeah, that nigga took that shit back. I'm like, that is honestly on you.
Yeah.
Dude, but fucking Brazil got knocked out of the World Cup. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see the flag over there, but I'm not going to make Jake wear it because they reek of defeat. They lost to Croatia, and Croatia is just built different
in penalties. So hard.
Dude, they won their last like 5 knockout matches in penalties.
Really?
Yes.
Didn't Brazil shoot their last one off the post?
Marquinhos hit the post. So close at the post. I screamed that shit.
For being on PSG.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Dude, he's been there forever.
Yeah.
Like, he was there back in his Latin days.
He's like the OG big fucking PSG purchase on, like, defense, at least, I feel like.
Dude,
they dropped a bag on him.
Where was he at before that? I don't even remember. Like, literally whenever...
Was he No, I don't think he was on Monaco.
I'm going to say Marseille, but I don't know.
He might not have come from another French club, but he probably did.
Dude, that's so weird to think about what it must be like to be like a Brazilian guy that's like on a French club. Because like you're
playing in Paris.
Dude, everything about your life changes. Like from going to a beautiful... Well, I mean, maybe he probably wasn't in Brazil before that. But like if you live in Brazil and like it's awesome there and then you have to go to fucking like Germany. Is
it awesome there though?
Oh, in the rich parts. I mean.
Okay, yeah.
Like, and not like everywhere, obviously. The favelas are horrifying. Oh, yeah. No, like, there's literally, like, lines where they're like, do not cross that line. And, like, people will cross over the line and get kidnapped. Like, it is that. Like, you can see the difference between the rich areas and the poor areas.
There's just 8 fucking Brazilian dudes in Fortnite bushes just waiting on the other side of the line.
Dude, like, literally walk across and then it's fucking... I was gonna make a reference to the SpongeBob movie, but I don't think that's what happened whenever they drove over the line. Those guys, dude, you remember that?
What'll it be, fellas?
Dude. Oh my god, that shit is such a funny memory. Did you ever watch The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah, but I only have the vaguest memories of them. Like,
dude,
just the shitty CGI in the background of like 12-year-old Taylor Lautner.
Dude, Taylor Lautner was so funny. The other day I fucking saw a video on Instagram and someone was like doing that Dream song and I went and listened to it while I was in the shower and I was singing every word, nigga. Nice. Not every word, actually.
Just belting that whore.
Like halfway through I was like, oh, I don't know any of these words. But I was like, this shit is so funny. Like the nigga
Still we're on the vibe though.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking nigga literally, like now that I'm older, I remember like Taylor Lautner was fucking like singing like there's a darkness in the air and like he was supposed to be dreaming up what's gonna happen and then all of a sudden there's like dark clouds coming and like they were gonna get fucked over and I was like, yeah, nigga, I mean that makes sense. This nigga was literally manifesting it.
Yeah, normalize manifesting your dreams and desires.
And expecting that shit to come true.
Yeah, if you just have enough narcissistic energy and just like project it out into the world through your mind, like you can do anything.
It's bound to work at that point. Yeah. Like if it doesn't work, the universe kind of owes you.
Yeah, facts. And just always know if you ever fail to achieve your dreams, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted it and like just made sure you wanted it the most, you'll get it. So like if that doesn't happen, you should point the finger at everyone else and like find out how they fucked you over. Because like that's the issue nowadays is people are too willing to take self-responsibility for their actions. And like we need to cut that out.
Accountability is like a pandemic in the modern society. That's why the West is failing, is everyone is so responsible for their actions.
Oh my god. That's why we have the abortion laws that we do. It's because of how responsible we are.
Exactly.
Dude.
Nobody is willing to put the consequences of their own poor decision making on anyone else. So
exactly.
I think that's kind of
based
toxic in our society. We need to normalize pointing the finger.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
let's make that into a hashtag. Hashtag point the finger.
Hashtag no accountability.
Yeah.
Dude. Fucking, what were you saying about that brand earlier that you used to...
Oh, dude, I've always hated on Bang energy drinks because, like, I don't like energy drinks to begin with. I think, like, a lot of caffeine is ass. But, dude, I just found out they actually lost, like, a $300 million lawsuit with Monster Energy, which is funny. They took down the opposition because these guys, I'm a fan. Apparently one of their marketing, like, slogans... I don't know if it was like a slogan or like an unironic statement that they used, but they said that Bang Energy, like drinking it, can reverse mental retardation.
Oh my god.
Monster took them to court, like on that false claim or whatever. And,
dude.
I guess the Monster execs would know. They just like had a bunch of them test and drink it, and they're like, nope, still retarded. But and then they also said that like it had this like there's super creatine in it, and it doesn't even have like any actual creatine in it at all. Like there isn't a single like trace of it.
That's so funny, but I thought it was just like based to just like lie about what was in your shit now.
I know.
Dude, like the FDA...
They said it can reverse mental retardation is like the greatest shit I've ever heard, though.
That's upsetting that people heard that and were like... They actually might mean that. Well, maybe it was just since you said it was Monster, they're just like taking out competition, which then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that is fucking hilarious. If they paid that, can they at least still run the ad?
I hope so.
Dude, imagine if they paid $300 million to take an ad down. That would be so tough.
Bang can reverse mental retardation. That is fire, though. You have to admit.
That's so fucking funny. Like, whoever had the balls to pitch that at an executive meeting, like, imagine the guy that was like, they're like, all right, we're hiring this. Let's say they're hiring Nathan to make their ad for him. And, like, I have the balls to walk in there to those people that are paying me money and say, this is your new ad campaign. Bang Energy can cure mental retardation.
A, it's a complete lie, and B, it's offensive as fuck. That's all you want in a marketing slogan, honestly.
Dude. That's so funny. Dude, I'm actually going to start drinking Bangs now.
I might have to.
Dude, not like religiously, but like if I ever need like a 5-hour energy or like a Red Bull, usually I just get Red Bulls because I'm like, that's the old reliable. Yeah. But I'm gonna do Bangs now.
Classic energy form, I feel like.
Dude, I remember in college, I'm gonna call these niggas out by name. Fucking Braden Thomas, fucking Sam Greaves, and Peyton Walton we were all like chilling like all night. These niggas were drinking and I was just chilling because I was high as fuck. And those niggas drank like, Braden had this bottle of Bacardi that was like this big. And like, literally it was the, you know how you can buy giant bottles on like cruises?
No, but that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, so like if you go on like the only cruise I've ever been on was the Carnival Elation, I think, or Carnival Paradise, something like that. But get us. But they were like selling giant bottles of alcohol there because there was like kind of a mall inside of it. Or not a
mall.
That's
what, like probably like 4 times the size of a handle.
Oh yeah, it's fucking huge. I'll show you. I'll insert the picture because oh my god, that might have been on my Snapchat. I'm gonna ask Braden if she has that shit. Oh fuck, I don't think I have her on my new Snapchat, dude. I haven't even. I don't know if I even mentioned it. Like,
oh, your banning fiasco.
Yeah, dude, that was wild as fuck. So, I don't know. I tried to talk while I was hitting it, but I think it's dead.
Is it?
Hit it one more time.
Clogging up big time. The battery's good. It's probably.
Oh, let me tap that one.
You got like some fucking pointy shit that you could scrape it out with because that'll probably help. Just gotta suck it until that cherry pops.
Yeah, I got you. Actually, pause.
Yeah, weed technical difficulties. Actually blocky, and you put it into a base that's got like a big ass battery in it, and then you put this like nozzle on the top, and you can rip both of them at the same time.
Dude, am I just retarded?
You really gotta like feel it bust through. If it's not like, oh yeah. There we go. That's hella annoying though, isn't it? Like. Oh, dude, it just like money shotted. Oh. What the fuck? I don't know if this will actually get into the video because it's, I don't know if it'll monetize, but like. That shit is horrendous.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like a tongue coming out.
Jesus Christ.
That's like borderline dabbable.
Dude, but Braden and them, they were sitting up all night mixing Bacardi with Bang energy drinks. And they, like, Braden had...
No one's heart stopped?
No. Braden, like, I was literally there watching them because it's like, someone's going to die. I can't miss this. Like, those were the homies, but I was like, one of these... I told him, I was like...
I'll at least be there to call the fucking ambulance when all of them are seizing on the floor.
Dude, because Braden had, like, a stack of fucking, like, the Bang cans and, like, a 4x4, like, stack up to, like, this high. And, like, they killed all of them except for, like, the bottom stack. And I was like... Holy fuck.
One Bang's like 325 milligrams of caffeine.
Dude, I was like, this is not safe. And they were mixing that. It might have been. No, that couldn't have been true then. They drank a fucking lot of them, though. Like, they were using those as the mixers.
Any more than one is too many for a sober person.
Dude, but maybe it did the opposite because fucking alcohol is like or not a depressant, but like a.
It just puts additional strain on your cardiovascular system.
Oh,
it's trying to do 2 things at once.
Oh my god, dude, that was fucking crazy. I don't really drink Bangs because not because of that, but like that was just one of the things that went into it where I was like, that is like, wild as fuck.
Red Bulls are only what, like 175 milligrams of caffeine?
I gotta be honest with you, as a black person, I have never read a nutrition label in my entire life.
Based.
That's not a can't read joke. I just choose not to read those fucking I don't think any black people really give a fuck about nutrition like that. Like chicks do sometimes.
I mean, as a black guy, you can just consume whatever you want and not work out and be jacked. So.
Yeah. Dude. Michael Gibson is like insane to me. Like
that guy's literally like got peak physique genetics.
The other day I saw him post a video of him like benching, and I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like Michael, before, I remember like back whenever we went to church together, Michael and I would always wrestle and Michael would murder me. It would usually be like 2-on-1 against Michael and he would usually be able to like get both people. But like fucking now he can legitimately like wouldn't even have to try and he could snap my neck.
Yeah, I know. That dude's crazy. And it's not even just that he's like that like he's supreme tier athletic, supreme tier like strength for his
Supreme
size.
K.
Fucking
I know Preem K.
Oh god. As well as like supreme tier for like aesthetics. Like he looks like a bodybuilder, he can lift like a power lifter, and then he's like amazing at fucking sports too. Especially wrestling, obviously, because that's what he does. But.
Dude, but like people that are good at wrestling are kind of like people that are good at soccer, where they suck at every other sport. Like fucking, if you played the wrestlers in like basketball, those niggas sucked. Hayden Mawson, I'm calling you out. I suck. I could whoop you in basketball.
Not Michael though. Michael
was like very good in basketball. Like that nigga definitely could have made the team if he wanted to.
Dude, imagine him just playing point guard, just like flattening people.
He was like Russell Westbrook. He was like Russell Westbrook whenever I played with him. Like he didn't really shoot that much. But it didn't really matter all that much because fucking he could get to the basket when he wanted and he could dunk back then.
That's wild.
Facts, dude. The church parking lot basketball games at the lock-ins used to be so lit.
Yeah.
But then we'd be stinking like a motherfucker because like we couldn't take a shower and we would be out there like playing like
for real,
5-on-5, 2 goals, like running back and forth full pace at each other.
That's so fire.
There was this fat nigga named Unique that was there, and he was this fat black dude. That nigga had handles like a motherfucker. That shit was so funny.
He's like a saucy little meatball.
Yes. That's like a fucking literally could have been a Harlem Globetrotters player. Have you ever seen them play?
Yeah, that shit's funny.
As fuck.
It's like slapstick basketball.
Yeah, dude, I remember fucking one of the dudes is like walking around pretending to be fucking gay, and I was like, what is this? Like he was literally like talking to the other nigga on the team, like going sweet pea, and like pretending to be walking around with a purse, and I was like, this nigga's hilarious. And the generals are just like getting dicked on.
You just got a guy out there on the court doing blackface.
Dude, I wonder if the generals like ever won.
I have no clue.
Dude, probably like one game where like it was all the Harlem Globetrotters got the flu, and so they had to bring out random people, and the generals just took it out on them.
Yeah, just like actually just start yamming it on these like school teachers.
And then they switch jerseys with them, and then they're like the new Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, they steal that shit.
Dude, but
we get promoted.
Yeah, that's a big promotion. They get to be the B team for the Harlem Globetrotters that never actually plays.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, but I told you I had to recap you because last time I sounded like a psychopath and I had just finished season 3 like 30 minutes before you had got there, and I was so excited to put in my thoughts. That was the best
episode we've done yet, though.
That was fucking crazy because it went on for a while and it didn't even feel like he was going because I was just rambling like a crazy person. But I almost
I got to like literally make the entire show in my head, so it was like the ideal version of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. So last time I kind of went over the first season and then the second season and didn't really like talk about it that much, and I went into the third and explained it like a crazy person. But I'm gonna re-go over the season 1 and 2. Season 1 not as much, but basically this nigga like runs a bookstore and he meets this girl that's like a writer there that's super hot named Guinevere Beck, and he's like stalking her.
She like a Harry Potter girl?
No, she's like, oh yeah, my parents were just assholes with the name. And he was like, yeah, they fucking were. And basically he spends the entire... Yeah, I lied about the season 1 part. I'm going to go to season 2. Not go to season 2, but I'm going to go through it slowly. He lies to her to fucking get close to her and stalks her and basically gets with her. And then she, by complete...
Like any man does with a woman that he likes.
And like also he has a neighbor that's like with this super abusive guy and like has a kid that's like super cool, Joe, and like Joe always gives him books and food and shit.
How old's this kid?
He's like maybe like 8.
Oh, okay.
And he's just like a nice kid, and like Joe will give him books and shit. Like he's a smart kid. And the abusive dad like kind of hates the kid. And Joe ends up actually murdering that guy way later on in the show. But fucking
nice.
Joe is just basically doing whatever he has to do to beat whoever's in the way at the time. Like at first, it's her ex-boyfriend Benji, and like then
sounds like a fucking beta anyway.
Dude, the guy was like, his dad ran like at Ashby fucking something firm in like New York City and was like super rich. Like I think it was an investing firm or something like that. Like an insanely rich guy. And like he's just the son that's a piece of shit. And like he has him in the cage and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. But like he already has him in the cage, so once you get in there, there's not really many options. Because like under the bookstore, he has that room soundproof because the last guy that owned it, like they have like first edition books and like super rare, like expensive
like an archive.
Books. Yeah, and like they have that down there in the cage, like at a certain temperature with a certain humidity. Like that's why he has that. And it's also it's soundproof because like he wanted to, the guy that made it wanted to like
be able to study in there.
Yeah, not be bothered. And like there's also like locks on it, like multiple doors that you have to get through to get down there. And
perfect
like,
setup.
Exactly.
Note to self.
Exactly. Yeah. This is something I'm gonna have in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And fucking
buy an old bookstore.
Yeah.
Do a little renovation.
Yes, exactly. He's like, no, the cage was already there. He didn't even do the renovation. He was just taking advantage.
I know, he just repurposed that jaunt.
Yeah. The other dude is crazy as fuck too, though. Like whenever he was
like, if you want to sit down in a soundproof box and in the fucking ground and read old ass books, you're insane.
Yeah, that dude had a badass car though. But basically, that Benjamin Ashby guy, Benji, he was fucking like just a dumbass and didn't really have a real job, but like his thing that he was doing was selling artisanal soda.
Oh my god.
And he would be
name
like,
a more iconic combo than Wall Street Dad and Deadbeat Son.
Dude, exactly. But fucking he was just like doing drugs and
soda. What a fucking homo.
He's such a faggot. Like she should not have been with that nigga at all. And like Joe fucking to trick him, he was
I forgot that dude had a girlfriend too. That's even more embarrassing for her.
Dude, it wasn't even really like his girlfriend. It was just like a girl that he would go back to fuck and like
just heeming her.
Exactly. And like she was like liked him a lot, but fucking he didn't give a fuck about her. But Joe was a good guy though.
You're not terribly important to me.
Dude. He was at the end of the first time that he fucked her, he was like, it looks good on you. And she's like, huh? He's like, that extra weight. And I was like, this thing is hilarious. But fucking Joe was like pretending to be a guy that was interested in like writing up about his soda, and he's like, oh, bring some. Like, and he's like, he didn't say that he was Joe, but he was like, yeah, like whenever he met him, he's like, oh yeah, that's super cool. Like, have you been to this super low key place over here? Like, and it's like there's a way to get in like through an alley, like to the downstairs place. So it's like, oh yeah, it's super low key. Like, not a lot of people know about it, but like, do you know?
Appealed to his hipster.
And he was like, yeah, I've been here a couple times. And so he's like, leads him down there, hits him with a mallet, puts him in the cage.
And he just smacked him over the head with his artisanal soda that I know was in a glass bottle.
It was in a glass bottle. And fucking later on, like whenever he had him in there, he was like, okay, well here, we can do a test to see if you can get out of here. He's like, I'm going to pour some of your soda. Like, I have 3 cups here. 1 is your soda, 2 are generic off-brands. And he drank them, and he's like, I need a palate cleanser. Like, after he drank the first one, he's like, drink. And then made him drink the other ones, and then he drank them. He's like, I don't know, man. None of these are mine. These are all dog shit. And he's like, they were all yours. And fucking the nigga is just like, you are a fucking fraud. Like,
and then murdered his ass.
No. Like, he was like, all right, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. And he's like, all right, well, I can give you information about me that's so damning that it would be mutually assured destruction if either of us brought it up. This nigga killed the dude because he was like giving him way too much alcohol and coke. And then they were like playing a game like, we're going to hold him underwater and drowned his ass. And this nigga Benji recorded it and had it to like blackmail his friends with it. And so he's like, fuck this guy. And like he was considering letting him out. And then he realized like, oh yeah, if I let this guy out, like he's going to keep on fucking Beck and like she's not going to actually like me. And so he gives him a cup, like he keeps on bringing him food and shit. And like one time he brings him like a latte or something. And, like, it has 2, like, drops of peanut oil in it. And, like, he had said that he was allergic to gluten. and like had a peanut allergy before, and he's like, oh, that's one thing I guess that he wasn't lying about. And
nice.
So then again, exactly. And then he knocks off Benji, and then his next big problem is Peach, who is the actress that played her was so fucking hot. Like
Peach.
pretty much all the chicks in there except for like one were extremely hot. And Peach, her last name is Salinger because she's related to J.D. Salinger, the guy that wrote Catcher in the Rye. Dude, yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Fucking, that was a nice little clue in there. She was rich as fuck, and she was also obsessed with Beck, and that's why he had to fight her off. Like, she was literally like gay for the bitch, and like was trying to move her out to Paris with her to get away from Joe.
No.
Yeah, she was a fucking bitch. And at one point, to get rid of her, Joe like fucking chases her down while she's like jogging. She doesn't realize he's there and hits her in the head with a rock. And then afterwards, he's like, and then just takes off. And she doesn't die. She was just like hurt. And the next time he sees her, he's like, fucking Paco, the son of the abused son. I'm so glad I brought that up earlier. Paco fucking drugged the dude like with sleeping pills, and he's passed out. Like Joe thinks he's dead in the fucking hallway, and Joe gives him like helps him, gives him CPR, and fucking like brings him back. And the dude like throws up, and then fucking beats the shit out of Joe. Like beats the shit out of him because he hates him. He's like, I'm a parole officer, and I can tell you're a fucking freak. Stay away from the kid. And like Joe's like, whatever, dude. And fucking, so whenever he wakes up and sees Joe, he beats the fuck out of him. And so Joe, the next time he sees Peach, she's like fucked up, and he comes in like destroyed. And like I guess he told Beck the story, so it wasn't like obviously Peach didn't like beat the guy's ass, so there wouldn't be a correlation between those two things. Yeah. But like, she's like, I know what you did. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, she like starts going off on this tangent where she's like, something, you pretend to be like a normal guy that's like not evil, but she was like, you pretend to be a normal guy that doesn't know anything, but you were right all along. I have a stalker. Because he had like brought that up before, because side note, he stole a book from her at one point and then fucking also took her laptop to like spy on her, and fucking she didn't like Joe at all, and they didn't like each other.
So naturally he stole her personal possession.
Yeah. So like, I don't know why he stole the book, but he stole the laptop to like get information on why she was like a bitch, and found out that she was like, that's how he found out she was obsessed with Beck. Cause like she had thousands of pictures of her.
Oh,
and, like, no. Yeah. Like underage pictures of her.
What?
Yeah. And she was like, you are fucking obsessed. And, he goes to her,
like CP?
No, not like borderline.
Oh God. What?
But fucking,
just from like stalking her and taking them herself?
Yes. Dude, but fucking, anyways, the last like showdown between them where Joe has to take her out, she, like after the attack, she's like, I don't feel safe here. I want to go to my place in Greenwich with you. And like brings Beck, and she has like a fucking castle basically that is super sick. Not a castle, a palace would be the word more. Shit is fucking insanely nice. I'm straight on that. But fucking, she has a super nice pad up there, and she's like, she was like acting super like devastated when she was in New York. But as soon as she got there, she's like, oh, well, we can go shopping, we can go to the mall, we can do this, we can do this.
We're in fucking Greenwich,
dude. And Joe was like, she's in love with you, you know that, right? And she's like, you're crazy, to Joe. And like, she started to realize that, and like, Peach gave her Molly and like invited this hot Indian guy over to fuck Beck, so she would like be not attached to Joe and be ready to leave. And fucking Joe was
Indian guy. That's like not possible, is it?
Dude, Joe shows up. Like Joe is there, like stalking them throughout the entire time. Like in
England?
No. Greenwich is in New York, or it's in Connecticut.
I thought you meant like Greenwich in England.
No. It's like a super what? Dude. That would be crazy.
Like
no,
I thought this was in like a Sherlock Holmes ass house.
No. It was like an hour away from. Oh, that's my fucking phone.
That was fire,
dude. But that's the Fox News, or not Fox News, the Fox Sports app. I had that for the World Cup, but I found out that if you just like go, actually, I don't know if I should say this. But if you know what?
The plug.
No, fucking, you could just go on Fox.com to watch the World Cup. Like, you get an hour, a free hour to watch, and then you can just close out and then delete your history for like the last hour, and then you can go and rewatch it again. And they like your timer resets.
Upload.
Hell yeah. But fucking, like, that would be worse if I was, like, calling out the name of something, like Stream East. I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna bleep that out because I don't want that to get taken down, but, like, that one's a good one for, like, pretty much everything.
Gas.
Dude, like, UFC, NFL, NBA, and MLB, I think. And, like, I don't watch MLB, but, like, the rest of those are, I think even NHL.
Yeah.
Dude.
For sure.
That shit is pretty plugged. But obviously, they don't give a fuck about fucking soccer.
Yeah. Do they not have any streams for it on there?
No, not for soccer.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Dude, but so Joe goes to the castle.
Yeah.
And then
he's
Beck basically calls her out in the morning because she's like, you said you didn't want men around and you invited this guy over. You're lying. And she realizes that Joe is right. And they like have a falling out. And Peach sees Joe in there, and like this nigga crashed on his way up there because a deer swerved in his way. And like his face is still beat up from that nigga Ron. And like that nigga has a concussion. And that's whenever he first starts having visions of Candace.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he's like, that. Like, this is season 1 before she's even like introduced. Like again, like it's just like him, like the first visions, and like you kind of know about Candace, but you don't know like what the fuck her deal is.
Yeah.
But he's like having visions of Candace, and like they're having an argument, and like I guess you realize that his last relationship had broken up because he had trusted someone, he said, and like he was going through her phone, and like she's like, give me my phone. And he was like, who is this? And fucking he realizes like that it's actually Peach that knows that he's there now, and fucking like knocks him out. And whenever he wakes up, she has a gun on him. And she's like, what the fuck? You're my stalker. And he's like, no, I'm not your stalker. And she's like, then why are you here? He's like, the same reason you're here, talking about Beck. And she was like, oh, you were trying to basically pieces together what was happening. And Joe somehow ends up like running away because she like stops looking for like a second. And then she runs out and shoots this nigga in the leg. And like he falls down and plays dead. And she gets close enough to him that he fucking knocks her over and takes the gun. And you hear a gunshot, but you don't see anything. And you find out that no one got shot that time. But Joe fucking like strangled her or something. And fucking, I guess, I don't know how he did it, but fucking, he staged a suicide. Yeah. And fucking like everyone believed it. And moving on, then his next fucking biggest threat, like he was like, oh, everything's happy now. And then she started
shit in her hand.
And then he had suspected her of fucking her therapist. And he was like after that, because like she ended up, she was fucking him. But like you don't know that for like 2 episodes. And you're like, oh, Joe, you fucked it. Because like now they broke up and like this dude has killed 2 people for her. And like, he's like, no. And he's like moving on.
Not a good ratio.
Yeah, he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll cut my losses, and goes like with this neighbor chick, basically. Not the neighbor chick, but like the neighbor chick's friend that's there to like help her. And fucking, he starts fucking her. And then like Beck sees them. He starts cheating on her because Beck is way hotter. It's a black chick that he's fucking. That he was replaced. Exactly. Not even on the same par. Dude, real quick, I have to show you a picture. I'm going to insert it too, but I have to show you this bitch.
Just for context of why my man's simping so hard.
Yes. Well, you don't like blondes. I forgot about that.
Guinevere Beck. She's hot, though.
But fucking anyways, I'm going to just keep that picture up for later. But no, fucking, she starts fucking him again because she's jealous. And then he finds...
Lemon moment.
Then he finds out that he really is fucking, that the therapist really was trying to fuck her, like, at this point, but she had already cut him off for Joe. And, like, Joe is like, all right. And fucking Beck finds out about the murder thing because Joe had given Paco a book, and he's like, Ron's going to destroy it if he sees this. He's like, put it in a hiding spot. Good hiding spot is to put it above your bathroom, like, tile. Like, you can push the tile up, slide it over, put it up there, and, like, hide it. Joe has his, like, murder stash up there hidden. This bitch Beck one day is just like sitting in the house, and Paco comes and he's like, here, give Joe his book. And then he like explains, he's like, yeah, I had it in my hidey place. She's like, what do you mean? He said, Joe told me that the best place to hide a thing is this place. She goes up there, and like Joe went out to get them food, and like he's gonna be back soon. She doesn't see that her phone says be back in 5. She's in the bathroom, picks it out, sees like Benji's she sees her old phone, like that had allegedly been lost. fucking, she sees Benji's watch. She sees Peach's phone. She sees, like, her panties, like, her bra. Fucking, she sees all that shit. And a fucking jar of teeth. And she's like, what? And drops it and cuts her finger. And, like, she's like, oh, no. And here's Joe open the door, and she's like, dun, 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 dun. And she's like, oh, yeah. I don't
so there's teeth all over the floor.
She picks them up and hides them, but, like, she cut herself when she was cleaning the glass. But she didn't get them all. And, like, she's, like, about to leave. And Joe's like, all right, whatever. And, like, sees that she's cut. And she's like, let me help you. She's like, I don't feel good with blood. I gotta go. And he's like, okay. And, like, goes in the bathroom and sees a tooth. And he goes out there, and you see Beck about to leave, and the door opens, and right behind her it shuts, and you see Joe's ass, like, and she's like, what are you gonna do? And then you have a flashback of him and Candace having an argument where, like, she was about to leave, and he was like, Candace, it's okay, we can work through this, you'll love me. And, like, she's like, no, I fucking don't, Joe. And he has a crazy look in his face. Next scene, Beck wakes up in the cage. And, like, this nigga knocked her the fuck out and put her in the cage. And basically, fucking, from there, he goes on to, he's about to let her out. And, like, he was convinced that she really was gonna, like, work with him to let her out. But she, like, to prove her loyalty, she had to, like, didn't have to, but he's like, no, you always wanted to be a writer, and now you have, like, a typewriter in there that I put for you with plenty of paper. Like, use this opportunity to write. And so she, like, writes this thing where she's like, oh, yeah, like, basically saying that she wanted to be swept off her feet by a person like Joe, and, like, was, like, sucking up to him, and he's like, okay. And then, like, she writes another one where it's, like, saying that it was Dr. Nikki, the guy that did all that shit. Like the
therapist.
The therapist. She's like, we can frame him for everything, and, like, we don't have to move on with this at all. Like, nothing can happen. Like, you can let me out, and I'm not going to betray you. And, like, he's finally starting to fall for it. He lets her out. She fucking locks him in the cage, and he's in there. And the key was in the door. And she was like, you are a fucking lunatic. You're going to rot in jail. He's like, no, Beck, come on, please. And, like, he's locked in the cage, and the keys are out there. And she's like, no, you're going to rot in here. And she goes upstairs and realizes that the other doors that are there are locked as well. And she didn't grab the keys. And so she goes back downstairs. That nigga's not in the cage. And he's like, did you really think I wouldn't have a spare key hidden in the cage somewhere? And fucking, she, like, starts running around, grabs that same mallet that he killed Benji with, and hits him in the head. And she thinks she's going to get away, goes upstairs. Paco is, like, had also come into the bookstore, opens one door to look down in the basement, sees that she's locked out there, and she's like, help, Joe is crazy and he's trying to kill me. And because he had killed Ron, like, Ron was about to beat the fuck out of Paco, like, maybe murder him. And, like, fucking Joe shows up and murders that guy, covers it up for Paco, and, like, Paco's like, nah, locks that door,
yes!
And fucking
Let's go.
Joe grabs her by the face, and then she's dead.
Nice.
And then he's like, you see him?
Paco's a shooter.
Yes, real. Sir. That nigga's a real ass nigga, certified sniper gang.
That's fire.
Dude, but then you see Joe in the bookstore, and he's like, yeah, it's been 4 months since you died, and you wrote this book. Like, that whole thing about Dr. Nikki, Joe had finished it and, like, published it as her, and, like, framed Dr. Nikki with, like, she had, like, wrote, like, oh yeah, I found a box of teeth and all these things in his yard. Joe went there and hid it, buried her body on his property, and fucking the cops show up at this nigga's house, and they're like, you killed this girl. He's like, no, go ahead, check my shit. All of the evidence is there. This nigga goes down for it, and he's in the bookstore, and he's like, yeah, fucking, it's been 4 months since you've been gone, but I haven't really been paying attention to anybody. And then he sees, like, a girl walk in, and he's like, oh, she looks pretty hot. Like, does the exact same thing that whenever he saw Beck for the first time, he's like, who is this? And goes, and then he walks up and sees it's Candace. She's like, and it hasn't explained what happened with Candace yet, but, like, it's heavily inferred that she was killed by him.
Yeah.
And then, like, she's like, yeah, I'm not dead. Surprised to see me. And it's like, this isn't a fucking illusion. And so, like, they set it up for a season 2, which is pretty good writing.
It was fire.
And then season 2, I said I was going to be short. I did go through that one more thoroughly, and I'm glad I did. Yeah. Fucking season 2, it starts off with, like, him like sitting down at a table with her, and she's like, yeah, surprised to see me. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, he's like, what do you want from me? What do you want? And she's like, oh, I'm here to kill you. No, not that. And Joe's like sitting there still like pale as a ghost. She's like, oh, that's right. I'm here to call the police on you and I'm going to report you for everything. And he's like, and she's like, oh, yeah, it's not that either. And he's like, what do you want from me? And she's like, I'm going to make you ruin your life so bad that you wish I would turn you in. And like, he's like, okay, I need to go to the bathroom. She's like, you look like you're about to throw up. He's like, excuse me. Goes to the bathroom. She's sitting there for a second with her food she ordered. And then she's like, oh shit. Goes in the bathroom. This nigga Joe jumped out the window and took off. And then he gets a call from her and she's like, oh, I'm going to find you. Like, this is not over. And like, then you see Joe and you see that nigga in LA and he's like, I hate this place, but it's the last place that she would expect me to be. And like, it kind of introduces all the characters, like his neighbor Delilah, her little sister Ellie. They're both cool as fuck. And Delilah's like not a detective. She like writes news articles that are like exposing people for doing dumb shit, basically. And she's fucking this cop nigga, like just basically fucking him for fun, but not like actually dating.
Yeah, they're just teaming.
Exactly. And Joe gets a job at this place called a Navra, which if you spell it backwards, it's Nirvana. And it's its own. He finds out later.
Wait. How can it have an A at the end too if it's Nirvana backwards?
Let me look what the actual. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong because I don't fucking know, but it's
Annavern.
A Navra. Wait, damn it! No, wait, that's in India.
Annavern. It's got to be Annavern. Wait, Annavern. Yeah, Annavern.
Annavern, yeah, Annavern is what it is, I guess. Yeah, Annavern is.
It just makes me think of Anavar.
Is that steroids?
Yeah.
But he gets a job
Everything
there.
Makes me think of steroids.
Faggot. Dude, fucking, he gets a job there, and you find out that he's doing it to stalk this girl, Love, that he's seen recently, and she actually fucks with him, and like, yeah, she thinks he's cool.
Bad.
Yeah, and she's not like Beck. Like Beck, he had to do so much shit to get her to like him, but this girl just like likes him, and it's like hella cool, bruh. And fucking. He ends up fucking that up because this Candace bitch keeps coming. She finds him in LA, and like the first time that he's actually introduced to Candace again, he realizes that Love's dumb brother 40, that's a dumb addict, spoiled rich kid. He's fucking Candace, and
what a bloke.
He thinks he's just meeting 40's girlfriend, like randomly at this stupid like renewal of the vows between their parents that are like rich motherfuckers, and like they're all outside like wearing white shit, like, you know, fucking crazy white people, crazy rich white people
wasting $50,000 for a second wedding.
Yeah, exactly. And fucking whenever they go and like he's there going to meet 40, he sees the bitch that he tried to kill, like Candace, and like she shows up from like New York to LA, and she's there to ruin his life, basically. And basically trouble ensues, and through this, Love actually ends up catching Candace sneaking into Joe's like apartment, and she like interrogates her and is like, I know you're Candace, because she had been going over, she was going by a fake name, Ava Adams, I think. Nice. Or something like that. Something that's very vague. Porn
star.
Yeah, no, that's not it then. It's like some 2 A's, like a very ungoogleable name.
Porn brain rot name.
Dude.
Or porn brain rot fucking Nate.
But fucking Joe
seared into your mind.
Yeah. Fucking Jesus Christ. Love tells her like, you should fuck off and like leave forever. And she's like, his name isn't this is not Will. He's been going by a fake name, which I also forgot this part, because it shows in the beginning how he got his fake name, and it was a guy that made people fake identities and shit, and he hit him over the head and you see that he still has the cage and that it's in a storage like unit place, and like he brought that guy there and has that guy in the cage. The real Will Bettelheim is his new fake name. I just call him Joe because that's who he actually fucking is. But fucking Will Bettelheim, and the real Will Bettelheim he had in the cage. And eventually he was like, I really don't want to kill you. Like, he wasn't telling the guy this, but he was like, I don't want to kill this guy. And he ended up building up his trust and let the guy go. And the guy was cool as fuck. And like, literally Joe FaceTimed him one time and he was like, oh, what's up? How you doing, Will Bettelheim? And he's like, oh, I'm good. How are you, Will Bettelheim? And he's like, see, like, he let a guy go. Like, he does.
Funny as fuck.
He's not a monster. He didn't want to kill most of those people, but he had to before. But
they just wouldn't cooperate.
Exactly. And so that's how he got his fake name and his fake identity and ability to like work and shit. But then Love is like brought this information from Candace where she's like, he's not really Will Bettelheim. He's Joe Goldberg. And he tried to kill me. And he also tried to kill another. Huh?
He's a Jew.
She's like, just so you know, he's Jewish. Like, I'm totally not like that, but I want you to know. Fucking
that's what she meant when she said she was going to ruin his life. I'm going to tell everyone you're a fucking Jew.
Oh my God. That would be fucking goated. But fucking.
So Candace is telling Love that's like.
She's telling her everything. Name. And Love is like, you are obsessed with him. You should go. I'm going to pay you, leave. Because she's also like, you're taking advantage of my brother, which like is true. Like, but she didn't know why.
Yeah.
And she's like, get the fuck out of here, and pays her to leave. And fucking Love is like, confronts Will Bettelheim with this information that she knows. And then she's like, yeah, we're done. And she starts fucking this guy. And Joe's just like, damn, I'm jealous as fuck. Because he still works at the store where she's at and like sees them together all the time. And it's like torture to him.
Wait, he's jealous of Candace getting
No. Love. Candace is gone. Like, she disappears.
Wait, and Love starts getting heamed by some other guy?
Yes.
Why?
Because fucking she's mad at Joe. She's mad at Joe for lying about his identity.
Oh.
Which is the crazy bitch shit, dude. I'm saying. Like, he's like, Candace, he's like explaining.
It's like, babe, I may have completely lied to you about who I am.
Dude, I'm so on Joe's side.
Let's watch Wall-E and you can give me some pussy.
I've never, like, I know I'm a psychopath because literally I'm the entire show, I'm just like, what is up with these motherfuckers and messing with Joe? Yeah. This nigga is literally trying to be chill and everyone makes him do crazy shit.
Bro's just trying to vibe.
Facts. But anyways, fucking Love starts fucking another dude. And Joe is like, whatever, starts heaming the neighbor, Delilah, and not the 15-year-old, but fucking starts fucking the neighbor. And Love ends up getting like jealous and like, he's like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm over Love.
Woman.
And he like writes her a note that's saying like, I'm going to leave because Delilah actually, the cop friend that she was fucking, saw Joe whenever he was leaving the house. I completely left out this part. Chris D'Elia is in there as a comedian.
Are you serious?
He's a comedian named Henderson, and he goes by Hindi. Come to find out, this dude fucking drugs bitches the GHB, and then fucking takes pictures of them like handcuffed with their clothes off.
Just Chris D'Elia playing Chris D'Elia.
Dude, oh my! That's not fair. I don't even know what that nigga did, but like I remember there's like accusations of like. I don't know.
I didn't know he actually did anything.
Nah, yeah. Dude, Chris D'Elia.
Like a guy that would have a little fun.
Dude, exactly. But Chris D'Elia's in there, and he kills that guy.
Fire, handy.
He kills him because he finds out that he's like a piece of shit, and he's about to start, like, he literally, the night that Joe killed him, was going to rape fucking Ellie. Like, he had put GHB in her drink.
Who's Ellie?
The daughter of the neighbor that's like, he's pretty friends with.
15-year-old?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. So Joe's there, and he sees Hendy, like, fucking dropping the shit in there, and he knows it's GHB, and fucking he, like, goes, breaks a glass in another part of the house. He's like, what the fuck? He goes over to get to that glass. Joe comes back. Ellie's still not looking that way. This nigga puts way more GHB in Chris D'Elia's drink, and then it goes back, and Chris drinks it. They're both passed out. Dude, he should have died, probably. Fucking, he's just there to get a confession from him. He's like, he literally had one of those Chris D'Elia mask on. Well, it's a Hindi mask, like with the eye holes out. and like has him tied up to the chair, blindfolded, and he's like, I'm going to record you confessing to everything that you've done. And he's like, nah, man. And then he's like, fine, I'll do it. Chris D'Elia somehow gets himself, like, breaks the chair, starts running away, and then right before he gets up to, like, out of his soundproof dungeon that he has where he rapes the chicks, Joe fucking pulls him back.
So he has a dungeon?
Yes, as well. That's why Joe found out, is because he went in there, and, like, he's like, oh, I didn't know.
He's just casually snooping around in this guy's
No, he was there to find out, because, like, he'd also raped Delilah whenever she was, like, younger and underage. And, like, so nice. Delilah knew about it.
Lore there.
Exactly. And, like,
damn.
Joe was, like, fucking...
He was trying to hit the whole fam.
He was like, yeah, exactly. And he's like, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to figure out how he's a piece of shit, and I'm going to give it to Delilah because she's a reporter that could stop this. Yeah. And then she ends up not being able to do anything with the pictures because he finds pictures of all of it. And fucking... He's like, she's not going to be able to do anything with those because, like, there's no evidence. He's not in the pictures. And, like, it's not the script because he has literally a corner where that, like, takes place where it's, like, nothing noticeable.
Yeah.
And so he goes there and, like, he has them all in the basement. He starts running away. Joe pulls him down the stairs. Nigga falls, breaks his neck, and dies. Joe cleans up the little part of blood that he had because he, like, had elbowed him in the nose and a drop got down there. Nigga has a Roomba that smears the blood together. He's like, no, 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 no. Takes the bloody Roomba, throws it in a trash bag, cleans just the smear blood, makes that look like a suicide. Fucking, because he was kind of like, he had like had his wrist cut, then went up the stairs and then fell, which is a conceivable thing that could have happened. Not normally, but yeah. But fucking, anyways.
Actual Peter Griffin death.
Yeah. But fucking... Joe slides out and like he has like all that shit thrown away, like he had headphones on him that he used to like blast metal music that woke him up, and like he had those, threw them away like in that bag, threw everything away that was evidence of that he had done that and that he had been there. And like he's going out and that cop that Delilah's fucking sees him, like, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm taking out the trash, which is like it's a nod to Jeffrey Dahmer because that really happened to him where like someone saw him like with body parts in a bag, like all on his back here. And he's like, oh, it's lawn clippings. And they're like, it's 11 at night and you're drunk as fuck driving on the road. And they're like, what's in the bags? And he's like, oh, it's just lawn clippings. I'm throwing them out. And they're like, all right, well, I'm not going to write you up. But like this guy, he's like, what's in the bag? What's in the bag, bitch?
Yeah.
But fucking, what's in the box? But fucking... he looks in there and those headphones he used are like super limited edition, like expensive ones. And he's like, you're throwing these out? He's like, yeah, they're too big for my head. And the cop's like, he's like, you can have them if you want, to the cop. And he's like, all right. Well, I was going to write you up for jaywalking, but you're good. And so he was like at his apartment when that happened. It wasn't like outside of Henderson's house or anything. But like the cop is like kind of suspicious of him. And like also he's fucking, at one point Joe gets arrested for fucking Delilah in public and the cop finds out about it and he's like, I don't fuck with this guy. Wait a minute, I remember you. And he's like, looks into him, and he's like, Delilah, that guy makes $12 an hour. He would not be throwing away a $600 pair of headphones. And like, that guy is definitely weird. And it was the same night that Henderson died. And like, they had suspected that Henderson had been murdered, but they didn't know, really have anything beyond that. And so it was kind of a stretch. But that's what led Delilah to go and like snoop on Joe and be like, what's in his house? She didn't find anything in the house. She fucking, because Joe, like, the entire show, it had, like, a hole in his wall behind a painting where he, like, he had stored, like, a shoebox full of all his little things and, like, his fucking, basically all his evidence that he murdered somebody in, like, a shoebox.
His trophies.
Exactly, his trophies, thank you. And she is about to find out at the end, like, she's about to take the thing off the wall, and then she sees that the wall is sealed, and she's like, okay, nothing there. And it's like, oh, I thought he was about to get discovered. Then, like, the next scene with her in there, she's at the storage place, and you see her opening up the thing, and, like, she's, like, in the cage, and she's, like, taking pictures, and she texts the cop, and she's like, okay, like, I thought you were just jealous, but I have something I need to tell you. Call me back ASAP. Then, like, texted him, and, like, right before she was about to do that, like, she sees Joe standing there, and, like, he closes the thing, and he's like, the cop starts calling, he's like, don't make me fucking do something I'm not going to want to do. Give me the phone. And she does. And then she wakes up in the cage. And Joe knocked that bitch out and put her in the cage. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But he fucks with Ellie and Delilah hard. And he's like, I don't want to kill you. And I'm going to make a way to where I don't have to kill you. And he had basically like decided that he was going to flee the country and leave because him and Love are still broken up at this point. And he's like, fuck, well, I don't even have anything keeping me here. And fucking, that's when I get to episode 9 or episode 8 where this nigga fucking 40 is like, all right, well, we need to write our script. Oh, wait, no, let me do the Delilah thing. He's like, I'm leaving in 16 hours. This is a pair of handcuffs that are timed. I'm leaving the door unlocked. Like, I'm going to let you out. And like, she's like, I don't want to die in here. He's like, you're not going to die in here. Like, I won't do that to you or Ellie. And like, fucking, he goes and like, leaves that note for Love in her locker that like, I'm leaving. I love you, but I gotta go. I appreciate everything you did for me. And, 40 stops him and is like, I gotta help, or you gotta help me write this script that he's been helping him write for a movie about Guinevere Beck. And Candace had actually put that thought in his mind because, like from the beginning, whenever she was still around, she's like, oh yeah, we should write a story, or we should do a movie about this instead. And it's like the story of Guinevere Beck getting killed because she knows that Joe killed fucking Guinevere Beck, and like that's the fuck with him. And like it's finally gotten to a point where like it's time to like write a script because like 40 got a good actress that's like, yeah, I want to be Beck. And he's like, I don't remember who it was, but it was someone that I guess is like super famous. And 40 was like, we got to write it. And he's like, I guess this will be the last nice thing I do for you, Love, is like help this idiot like finish the script. And while they're there, these niggas pull up in a van, zip tie these niggas' hands behind their back and put a black bat, like a hood over their faces, throw them in the back of a car. And Joe's like, oh shit, like this is probably the cops or like fucking Peach's family coming back to bite me in the ass or fucking, I don't know what this is. Come to find out, they get to the hotel and 40's like, yeah, I paid these guys to do that actually, but they will shoot us if we try to leave the room. And like the nigga, like Joe's like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm leaving. Like, you're a crazy fucking...
What?
Tries to leave. This guy pulls out shows him a gun. He's like, I'm going to shoot you if you leave. Like, because 40 is rich and, like, he could pay somebody a lot of money to do something insane like that.
So he, like, paid for them to get taken hostage just so that they had to write it?
Exactly, because Joe was like, I'll help you for 30 minutes. Because he is on a 16-hour time limit to get the fuck out of there. And he's like, I'll help you for 30 minutes. This thing at 40 drags him there and he's like, fine, I'll help him do this shit. Fucking Ellie had gotten a part on the movie. I forgot to explain. She's like a filmmaker and like trying to up and coming, but she's actually good and knows her shit. And so she's like there helping them write the script. And she's like, I don't know. I think you should completely restart. And 40's like, they're like, no. And fucking 40 ends up like standing on a window ledge and like jumping out. And you're like, this nigga just killed himself. And then you look, like Joe goes over to the window and sees that it's like a dumpster below him that he just jumped in the trash and like hopped out and like ran away.
What?
Yeah, because this thing is insane. And fucking Joe like doesn't have his passport, doesn't have his phone, doesn't have his shit, can't leave the room. So he jumps out and follows him. He finds 40 at a bar and he's like, oh yeah, I figured you'd find me. You're always so good at that sort of thing. I got you a seltzer. And he's like, all right, nice. And he sees that 40's like a monster because like there's a family getting married and 40 is hammered and he's an addict in recovery. And fucking this nigga is like literally has like a 20 shot glasses empty. And he's like, what is that? Is that you? He's like, yeah, well, I tried to buy the tequila bottle, but the guy wouldn't let me. So I just had to buy it individually in shots. And like the nigga's still standing and like coherent. And that's fucking fucked. This nigga sees the wedding and he's like, hey, I want to help and be in the spirit of celebration. And in that spirit of celebration, bride and groom, come over here. And like, he's like, I want to give you $10,000 in cash right now on the stipulation that I get to kiss your beautiful bride right now. And like, they end up saying yes to it. And this nigga starts making out with her. And then he's like, oh, nice. And then Joe's like realizing in his head, he's having an inner like monologue where he's like, this nigga is crazy. Basically. And he's like, 40 is out of his fucking mind. I didn't realize this guy was a monster. And then 40's like, oh yeah, come here real quick. Writes 852 on his arm in Sharpie. And he's like, what's that? He's like, oh, well, you're just going to want to remember what time you drink that seltzer. Cause, I put a lot of acid in it and I didn't know how much you tripped. So I just did 4 times the normal dose. And he's like, this nigga is about to get me caught. I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. And this nigga is like playing games with me. And now I am drugged. And I am on like, now at this point, it's like 12-hour timeline to get the fuck like out of there with his passport and fly out to leave.
Oh my God.
Love ends up like coming and finding him when he's tripping. And like, he's tripping balls, and he's like, she's like, I don't want you to like leave without me. Like, I want to come with you. Like, I love you. But she's drunk as fuck because like she was just with her mom. Like, there's plot to back it up that she would be drunk, and she's like, embarrasses herself because she throws up, and like Joe is just like, what? And can't even say a word. Like, literally can't say shit. And fucking, except for no. And like, she didn't. It was at a time where he should not have said no if he wanted to stay with her, and he did. And fucking, she goes away, and she calls him later, like whenever he's tripping. And this nigga, my bad. He's like while they're tripping, they go back to the hotel. Fucking 40's like, all right, now we can write. And like they start doing this role play thing where he's like, I'm gonna get in the form of Guinevere Beck, and you play Dr. Nikki, and like. This nigga 40 starts saying exactly what she said to Joe right before he killed her. Like, that conversation that happened, and Joe was like, no, I don't want to do this, 40. And then, like, 40 starts, like, doing the thing. He starts hearing her voice. And then Joe, like, she's like, no, you were what's wrong with me. Like, he was like, oh, her life was messed up anyways. And she was like, but it was my mess. And like, this is word for word what she says. And like, he's going over it. And whenever she says like the last line that was like the nail in the coffin, this nigga Joe starts strangling 40 just like he did to her. And fucking, he ends up getting her off, and he's like crying, and he's like, I'm so sorry, 40. And he's like, oh, if you're crying, you need the moon juice, which he had said before when he was tripped. Like, whenever he first told me he was tripping, he's like, there's 3 rules. Cars are real. If you want to try anything, start it from the ground first. And if you start crying, drink the moon juice. He'd said that at the bar. That was also backed up. He's like, go to Anavra, or whatever it's called, and Anavrin, and go get yourself a moon juice. And like fucking Joe goes and is gone for 3 hours, and like comes back, and he doesn't know what he did, but he's like, he's tripping, and is like talking to his mom in the bathroom, and like he sees blood on his hands and washes it off, and he's like, is that real? And he's tripping, and he sees his fucking mom in a hallucination, and his mom is like, you're like, you can't be with Love. Like, oh yeah, she called him, and they sorted it out, and he's like, yeah, we can be together. But fucking, she's like, you can't be with Love. You're dangerous for them. And he's like, no, I'm not. And she was like, why are you already thinking of ways to kill 40? And he's like, I'm not thinking of ways to kill 40. I'm not even going to kill Delilah. She's like, you already did. He's like, I didn't. Fucking nigga is like, what is going on? Doesn't know what's happening. Fucking, he wakes up in the morning, skipping a couple details, but he wakes up in the morning and he's like 40's not there. And that nigga goes to the place to like let Delilah out because he's like, I get to be with Love now. I'm going to pay her off. And like, this is going to be straight. Like, I trust Delilah. And like, fucking, he sees her dead on the floor. Like, completely like, what? Congealed pile of blood. And he's like, okay. And he starts doing the math of when he could have done it. And he's like, no way. And he's like trying to piece his day together piece by piece to find out what was going on the entire time. He gets to 40's house, talks to 40. And this nigga 40's like, oh yeah, we dropped you off at Delilah's last night. And made a joke. He's like, oh, it was in the middle of like town, right next to the self-storage place where Delilah's being held. But 40 thinks that he's going there to fuck Delilah. And so yeah. Fucking this nigga's like he thinks Joe thinks that 40 might have killed Delilah if he brought them there now that he has that information. Then he's like, no, actually, what I'm upset about is that, or what you might be upset about is that I fucked Candace again.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
he just dropped him there and went and heamed her.
Yeah. And then, so Joe's like, okay, well then that means I must have killed her unless someone followed me here and then killed her to frame me. And so he's, dude. And so he's thinking about it. He's like, was it Will? The guy that he had in the cage before? And he called, like he FaceTimes Will, and like a Filipino lady answers the phone. And he's like, oh my God, he gave me the wrong number. He's like, oh fuck, I'm so fucked. Then like Will comes over. He's like, oh, hey Will. And like, it was because earlier when he was in the cage, he's like, what are you going to do when you leave? He's like, I'm going straight to Manila to be with this Filipino woman that I love. Like, I gave her $50,000 before. And like, Will's like, Joe is like, this is a scam. Like, this nigga's getting tricked. But then he like didn't believe to see her. And then he's like, oh, what's up, Will? He's like, yeah, I'm loving it out here in Manila, man. How are you doing? And like, is a super cordial guy with them because he just cooperated with Joe and didn't fight against it. And fucking, then he's like, okay, so Will didn't do it. Who did it? And then he finds out that Candace, that's whenever he's like finding out that Candace was with fucking 40 last night. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, 40, that's not cool, dude. Because he's trying to get her away from that bitch because she's fucking trying to ruin Joe's life.
Yeah.
And that's where I left off. And like watching it, but from what I remember, I know that it's going to explain. Joe still has no idea like who did it, but fucking Love is the one that did it. And like, she followed Joe to the storage place, realized Delilah was in there. And then afterwards, like, she was like, well, she's like, help me, help. Like, Delilah's like, help me. Joe has me in here prisoner. And she's like, Joe has you in here prisoner? She's like, yeah. And then fucking kills her.
She's like, say dead ass.
Dude. And then Joe finds out about that. Because I don't know why he didn't look at his nanny cam in there. Because oh, wait, never mind. He had a nanny cam in his apartment. And that's how he caught Delilah stealing his keys to go to the lock and storage place. And that's how he showed up there to put her in there. But like, I was going to say he should have had a nanny cam of what happened in there. But that's not where how he found out. But fucking, he finds out that it was Love that did it. This nigga is about to murder Love. Because he's like, this bitch fucking killed Delilah? I skipped another plot point with 40 and whenever they're on acid, 40 he had admitted to Joe that he murdered his girlfriend, and like he was like, and then like, oh, that's crazy, 40. I forgive you though. You're not a monster. Yeah. And he's like, exactly. And fucking 40. God damn it, dude. Joe kills Love, or no, Joe doesn't kill Love. Joe is about to kill Love. And then she's like, wait, I'm pregnant. And that set up season 3.
With his kid?
Yes.
That's hard.
Facts. And then
they get married and then she's killing people and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Dudes. Because you remember I told you last time that she was just a crazy bitch.
Yeah.
But I didn't really elaborate.
Yeah, that definitely set that up.
Yeah, that's wild. Dude, this show is really good. And season 4 is coming out like in February. And it's like in 2 parts. So I think it's going to be in like a movie, like a 2-part movie. And I'm like, that's hard as fuck.
It's pretty hard.
Hell yeah.
Dude. The You recap.
The part 2.
Yeah.
We can definitely call that there, though. You trying to smoke?
You want to hear that child fucker story?
Oh, first? Yeah. I forgot about that.
Shouldn't be super long. Just to be safe, I'm not going to say specific names, or I will say it, just bleep it out so you at least you can know. Donald. I don't know if you've heard the name Donald.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, wait a second. You know what? Go ahead.
Why? Have you heard this?
Yeah, I have. I don't mind it because Grant is the one that filled me in on it.
Yeah, same.
But the thing is Jack is our editor, and like this causes huge problems with like Jack and Grant because apparently there's a difference in opinion on what happened.
All right, you know, just cut the episode.
No, tell the story, but I will preface this with Grant has one story and 2 other people have a different story of they don't think that actually happened. And one of them, like it's a close family friend, and one of them that said that was the older sister of that person that was like, whoa, we don't know that happened. Let's calm down. And the other person was Jack. So there's conflicting stories.
Okay.
But this
I don't want to talk about it then.
Okay.
All right.